G Creation, the Tree of Life. This episode is about revealing the imperceivable to show the hidden realms and structures of the heavens. So, we've got our heart-brain network, the communication between the heavens, between spirit, and how it finds all these patterns. And once it finds a matchup, then it can use it. You know, it's like it's that pattern already existed in the heavens before it used it down here. So that, you know, it finds that matchup, it knows it works then, so it can use it. So the one thing about lightning which I kind of struggled with, in terms of it's already got the shape. It didn't get the shape from the ocean. The ocean waves didn't give the shapes to the lightning. So the lightning's got it itself. The lightning's already representing the heavenly patterns. And also, it's so easy for the water to make these patterns. The water and the light. And then it repeats them. It puts them on all those animals. An abundance of animals. Whether it's frogs, giraffes, yeah, etc. We've also got it throughout his bodies, his brain, etc. Muscle tissue, nerve endings. Some parts they look like leafy, or even like, you know, like bats' wings. It looks like it there, doesn't it? But you can also see like the leaf aspect, and so like the stem and all that kind of stuff. It's even got a beak. It's like how it connects, like bridges, like neural pathways, all those kind of things. Like this is spirit's communication. Like its expression. It's quite good for looking like lightning. Colours gone. So we can see like the light breaking up. There's something I was going to say about it. I'm not sure what it was. It's been a few weeks since I saved all these pictures and stuff like. But so if I remember, I'll come back to it. But so we've got this lightning for this one. It's like an upside down tree, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like coming out from the bottom and growing that direction from its, you know, how it looks in terms of, you know, for looking like a tree. But it's perceivable, like you can see it, can't you? You know, you can't always see everything in that kind of way. So it's like that. It's already part of the heavens. So it's like it doesn't have to mimic or find the pattern. It already is the pattern in that way. And so the coral and how that looks like lightning, like the streak of it coming down in that kind of way. So you've got lightning in the background and trees in the foreground. So we're seeing that same pattern in that kind of way. And then we've got mushroom. That mushroom's the same thing, but in terms of like seeing the heavens and what the heavens look like, I kind of think that's quite a good description of it in a way. So we'll go back to the coral, and we say that that's like the shape of a realm, like where all the realms reside. So it's like, would be a realm within all of this. And there's another aspect, like, like Earth being the center of creation. One aspect of like, we don't have to be the center. You know what I mean? We could have a realm anywhere in that kind of sense and stuff like. So it could all be considered the center of creation in one aspect as well. It's like another aspect of it is that maybe at the bottom would be considered the center of creation, and that's where Earth would be if that would be the case. But personally, I'm not particularly biased. It's just good being part of it either way in that kind of sense and stuff. In terms of finding where we are, we're in there somewhere, Like I said, it could be the bottom, and that would be considered like the heart of creation. But if all of it is considered the heart, like this is the plant which represents the heart, on a bigger scale of things, it's like, if there's other places like relevant to other organs. You know what I mean? Like another realm for the lungs, because it doesn't look far off the lungs anyway. All those kind of examples and such. It's debatable, and I've got stuff later on to like to add to it, but but on that general sense of it though, because we spoke about it with the other episode, the Big Bang or the infinite silence, all that kind of stuff. Like, as a tree, then it's the infinite silence, and so how we perceive it in that way is different to. I'm going too fast for myself. I've got like a lot of different thoughts in my mind all at once and stuff like, and it's difficult to get them all out. Like in one sense of like, how we perceive things is also like how science has presented things. So like how they present things is seeing it from that internal view. So if you was a tiny creature inside a human body, and you didn't know that you were inside a human body, how would you perceive it? Would you take a photograph of the night sky from your perspective, and then like you could come up with the same assumptions of what scientists come up with today, you know, even with the heliocentric stuff and all that kind of stuff. Like they could even come up with all those kind of assumptions from being from the lack of the external view. But now having this as that external view, it gives a different perspective of it. So yeah, you've got of a tree grows, and then all the realms or galaxies and all that kind of stuff. Well, they call them galaxies, but I think they're, buds or whatever we want to call them. And so when you got these, and you can see it's see-through. It's a bit blurry. But you can see it's like hollow or see-through. So it's showing you that imperceivableness of it in that kind of way. So it's like it's like when we look out into space, we can't see all this, all these trunks sticking everything together and such. We can't perceive it. But it's on like that heavenly frequency. If you astral project, then you can witness it. You travel through all these to get to all the different locations and such. Like all the lightning. It's another aspect of it. There's a like a base where the information comes from, feeds the tree in that kind of way. Like it's where you get your spiritual downloads from. It's how you connect to source. Because source has got to be at the bottom, or connected to the bottom in that kind of sense. What I think is you've got. I see it's a good picture actually. Because it's like the macro aspect of things, in terms of like this is a realm which contains many realms, So it's like this was the creation. They created this space for the realms to be birthed. So it's like all part of the same thing. You could consider it as one realm because all the realms are connected to it in that kind of way. So right, through there, whatever's at the other side of that is like I'd call it home, and maybe these are the heavens. So it's like the realm that we're in now is one of those heavens in that kind of sense, because like we call space the heavens. So if all the other realms exist in heaven, when you're astral projecting, you can visit those other realms. It's kind of like, it makes sense in that kind of way, and most of them are like, not like this place. You know what I mean? We've got like, balance with nature, so it's actually a nice place to live. And so yeah, so the other side of this, that's like home, where we, when we've lived here, we'll go back to there and make a decision to see if we want to go into one of these other places, or go into another tree and check out the realms of those trees. And so in the vast scheme of things, it could be just a vast landscape, which is all plants, or coral, or, a mixture. Which may be like just dedicated to just plants, so you don't have animals destroying them, or humans. Oh, it's overside. Yeah, there's a lot to contemplate and go over and stuff like. There's all your lightning patterns. You can see it's hollow as well. So all your realms will be here. So you got your micro and macro, your black hole, which should be produced at the end on each realm. And with that, because everything's produced at the end, you see how that Goldilocks zone works. Like why the planets, or whatever you want to call them, Well, in the heliocentric sense, why the planets don't crash into each other, you know what I mean, right? Because like everything's like this, but we've proved it's not a planet anyway. So it's over for heliocentricity in that kind of sense. But the idea of like space, like reinventing it to understanding it in that spiritual sense, you see like the pathways. You'd astral project, you follow your silver card, and you're back home. If you'd gone out, you know what I mean, or you're visiting this place, whichever way. It's like the Goldilocks zone that works for flat Earth. It works for the spiritual realm, but it doesn't work for the heliocentric. So you got the lightning, and you got all these lines going through. So it's like the etheric wind, a wind of information. So like your downloads, all that kind of stuff, your spiritual energy, like your life force energy, all that kind of stuff, where your chi comes from, your inspiration, everything in terms of how you feel, your moods, all those kind of things. But it also does it for the plane as well, like Earth being alive and all these kind of things. Earth's a flower bud that comes off these things in that same way. So like the stories of like Andromeda crashing with the Milky Way or Trixali or whatever it is, um, it's not going to happen, is it? Because they're in their own place. Again, hollow, and then all this lightning, how it courses through it, and we don't see that. Like when we look up into space and stuff, or the heavens, we don't see it, do we? But you do astrally. So if you did that third eye meditation, the Middle Kingdom episode, you should be able to familiarize yourself with all this. So that's what makes sense to me. It's gonna let you know if you've astral traveled and stuff. Then all this it's showing you the heavens. It's showing you the structure of it, the shape, the map, how not to get lost in that kind of sense, which is auto tuned into you. It shows the vastness of it. Again, all those lines with the lightning over the top as well. So the stem to the realm, I think that's imperceivable. We can't see it. We can't see it in other realms. But I believe it's there though. It's all part of this. We might be looking up it, like I said, if we were the base, and that we're considered the centre of creation there, then we'll be looking up to the sky, to all the stars, and when you get your planetary alignment, all that kind of crap, it all fits above. Like I said, that's debatable. We could be on one of those in that kind of sense and stuff. I don't know, just how it shows you how bright it is and all that kind of thing. Because like a lot of people, um, I've heard people say that, like, because like they've astral projected, they've seen space, so they know that space isn't a lie, and all these kind of things. So that's why they're still a glober. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, but it's like, that's like, it's almost like, because like, if you caught an airplane, it don't mean it's a globe, does it? Especially now, like you go back on an airplane after realizing that, the curvature is in question, and then you can't find that curvature then. Yeah, like the explosiveness of it in that kind of sense. It's not explosive. I see it as more like, how plants bloom. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. That's that infinite tiny silence. It starts from tiny and it blooms and continues to bloom. The scientists made a mistake of looking at it like an explosion. I don't know what all these bits are, but we make it look extra spacey. Like bubbles or stuff in the ocean. So, this is the shape of heaven. It's where we are in that kind of sense. Because of the colour, it looks fiery. But, say, like the sun, it vibrates all different colours. And so it's difficult to determine what colour it actually is in that kind of way. The most output frequency is blue and green. So green like the heart chakra. But, so these are just different frequencies. And we're seeing all different coral, all different colours that they offer. So this one, even though it's a little bit blurry, but it's got a card. So like, that's like linking to the other world with its root in that kind of way. Like the silver card. It's suggesting that there's another realm outside of this one. So it's like you've got all the heavens, which has been made for us to experience, but the real home is through the root in that kind of way. Oh, no. Yeah, go on then. I don't know. You got the sun there, and so we look up, and we see the sun. And sometimes I kind of consider that. Say if we live on one of these, and we want to say we live at bottom, and we're looking up. If we're living at that end, we'll be looking at that end. We'll be looking up that way. So up will be towards the sun. That'd be the brightness and all that kind of thing. And that, like I said, it is a little bit speculation, but because we've got like the lens, then that magnifies the image, so it draws it to the lens. So everybody shares that same sun in that kind of way. Like I said, it's a kind of speculation because I don't know whether I'm coming from there or coming from there. It depends where we are in that kind of sense and stuff. But in terms of odds, it's most likely that we're on the outer sides. There might not be anybody living at that point. It might be just simply the passing through point, the portal for the energy and everything to come into this realm. especially its colour. I like the white in that spiritual sense of it. Like the brightness. So that reminds me of spirit, that brightness, and also the sun. So see how that would make sense, especially if you're looking down a tunnel. It's going to be round, which well, the face of it. So another aspect is we got all these different shapes, and so there could be an abundance of these realms, like we've got an abundance of plants and coral and such. It's like everything that's alive, everybody, every plant has got their own realm somewhere. So like, and maybe even like a piece of you is in everybody else's realm at the same time as well. And so I might be living as a plant in somebody's realm, in that kind of sense, whilst I'm having this life, whilst also I've got a life in the other realm and the other realm and the other realm, and everybody else has. So it's like everybody's sharing each other's realms all at the same time. So everyone's got their own realm, their own place in that kind of sense. How it's run and how things develop. I don't know, but like a cloudy expanse. I've got a lot of pictures for this episode, so it might take a while to get through it. It is only supposed to be one episode, though. And so, an episode made in parts. And it's also part of the middle series as well. The last episode was supposed to be the middle episode, but there's more. We're not halfway through yet, so so that's good. So you see that, you imagine this is where we are. This is what space would look like if we could see through that imperceivable light. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that and get on with the next one. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Nice one, cheers, thank you.